Hello, I'm Adam Barralet and welcome to this video where we're exploring Chiron and different gifts here on Mother Earth that we can use to work with Chiron. Now first of all, what on earth and who on earth is Chiron? Well, Chiron is named after a Greek mythological being. Now it's a bit of a sad story, the birth of Chiron. Basically there was Cronus, the Titan, and he fell in love with a bit of a nymph, or had a bit of a thing, probably more of an affection than love, for a nymph called Philyra. Now, Philyra was not interested in Cronus whatsoever, but he kept on pursuing her, and she kept on running away. Eventually, he turned himself into a stallion, chased her down, had his way with her, and then went off to his next conquest. From that interaction, Philyra actually became pregnant with Chiron, and when she gave birth to him, because basically he was a creation of rape, she wasn't interested and abandoned him. The interesting thing about Chiron is he wasn't just born as a normal mortal or half god being. He was actually born as a centaur with the 4 hind legs of a horse and then the upper torso and body of a man. Now, this abandoned poor centaur was actually adopted and taken under the wing of the god Apollo. Of course, Apollo being the god of the sun, of arts, he trained Chiron in all these different aspects on how to heal, how to play different musical instruments, and in turn, Chiron became a great teacher to many of the great Greek heroes. So, what Chiron's story is all about is, although he had a hard past, the things and the suffering and the pain that he had experienced, he was able to actually turn that into his advantage to drive him forward to be a greater person and make this world a greater place. So, then we have this astrological body that orbits between Saturn and Uranus, and it has the name and the energy of Chiron. Where it is in our birth chart shows where you'll have this Achilles heel, this pain or this injury or something that will always trip you up and always be that kind of pain point for you. Now, if you look at your birth chart, and there are different websites that will help you find your Chiron sign, just like your sun sign or your moon sign or your ascendant or your rising sign. You'll have a Chiron sign, one of the 12. And this will give you an indication of what that hurt may be. Maybe if Chiron was in Taurus when you were born, then that could be a pain around money and you never feel secure around money. If it's in Gemini, to do with the mind, you may never feel smart enough. With Libra, you may actually find that you have the relationships always pull you off balance, and so on and so on. I'll actually put a bit of a summary in the notes below and you can check out a few tips, and there's some great websites that have some other resources as well. Now, when we experience these pains, it can come up at different times, but especially when Chiron is in retrograde or coming out of retrograde, which is called direct. This is a particular time when we want to lean into different gifts of nature to help us with this. Remember, whatever is happening up in the heavens, Mother Nature is helping us here on the ground by giving us crystals and essential oils and the animals to guide us as well. So let's explore 5 different crystals and essential oils that you can lean into whenever Chiron goes retrograde or that Chiron issue or injury or pain rears its ugly head once again. The first gift of nature I love to work with when Chiron rears its ugly head or the influence and that kind of past hurt comes up is the essential oil of Helichrysum. Now this is a beautiful yellow flower that actually when it's picked, it never wilts and is also sometimes known as the immortelle. Now what happens when we work with Helichrysum essential oil, it allows us to kick back into connecting with the immortal part of ourselves, our soul part of ourselves, and remembering that pain is not permanent. It is just an experience that we can let go. When we use Helichrysum essential oil physically, it's really great. Like if I cut myself shaving, I'll dab a little bit on there and it stops the flow of blood. When I had my oral surgery, you've probably seen some videos where I've got my braces on and my teeth used to be all wonky. So I had some pretty severe surgery done to change the shape of my mouth so that my teeth could all be happy. And I would actually use Helichrysum oil with that healing there and the swelling went down really quickly. So what an oil does physically, it does emotionally as well and metaphysically. So this is a great one for helping to heal those wounds of the past that keep coming up and working out, okay, how does this serve me? Like the Japanese art of kintsugi, where they use gold to fill in when something is broken, we can actually be stronger from our pain. And Helichrysum allows us to connect with our mortal soul, self, that bit that is unchanging, that is true, to shed off all the pain, to get rid of that and This is a beautiful way to do that. And what happens is Helichrysum, being a flower, allows us to open back up to shine once again. Very similar in the kind of energy of Helichrysum is a crystal known as Ibis Jasper. Now, Ibis Jasper is a type of brachiated jasper, which means as it was growing in the ground, it broke apart somehow, there was some movement, and it's re-knitted together, and then broken again and knitted together. And you can kind of see all the different little pieces of it as it's grown back together. But for this, it's actually stronger as well. So why I love Ibis Jasper, which is found in Madagascar, it really helps. It's probably my favorite crystal of all crystals for helping to deal with trauma, for helping us realize that when we fall apart, we can knit back, and that can actually be stronger. Now, you may have seen ibises in different parts of the world, and you may be going, well, they don't really look like that. For example, in Australia, they kind of got a black head and a white body. But if you look at the Madagascan ibis, the colors are quite similar. And the ibis has long been a symbol of intelligence, of wisdom. If you think of the god Thoth, the Egyptian god, he had the head of an ibis. And so what happens is this crystal not only helps us to knit back together and be stronger, and with that jasper aspect also being quite calming and grounding, but it also allows us to see or to gain the wisdom that came from that hurt, that pain, and that suffering. When we're looking at the injuries and the suffering that Chiron's influence may have brought in our earlier life, we can actually start to look at, okay, yes, it hurt, but what did I learn from that? What skills that brought as well? And that's why I absolutely love working with this Chiron energy and Ibis Jasper, meditating with it, contemplating with it, what was the benefit of my suffering, what has it gifted to me, can actually help to make you stronger, so you can find that you're able to adapt in the world better and also be of service to the world like Chiron was as well. Once we've acknowledged the pain and started to work through the pain, are you ready to release the pain? To not allow that Chiron influence to trip you up in the future? Well, if that's the case, then you want to reach for your quantum Quattro. This is one of my favorite stones. People often ask me, Adam, what's your favorite crystal? And that's like choosing your favorite child. But secretly, I quite like quantum Quattro. This is a rare stone that was found in Namibia in 1996, the only place it's found in the world. And you'll see as I'm rotating it, all the different colors. I'm also wearing some quantum Quattro today as well, because while I'm filming this, Chiron is actually going direct. So what you've got is you've got the green in there of malachite, and you've also got green dioptase. You've got light blue, which is chrysocolla. The dark blue there is shadowkite, and the brown is smoky quartz. Each of these crystals takes you through a transformative healing journey. Of course, first of all, we use the malachite that's in there, and the malachite helps to bring the issue up to the surface. The shadowkite, that dark blue, working with the third eye chakra, helps us to understand and to look at, okay, what happened to me? What role did I play? What role did other people play? How has it served me? What is the damage? Acknowledge all of that and get that clear understanding of that. Then we lean into dioptase. Dioptase is really great for opening up that higher heart chakra or the thymus chakra. This allows us to work with compassion, to work with acceptance. It doesn't mean that something that happened in the past was right or good. There may have been some tragic things that happened to you, but accept that it has happened. Accept that that's where you are today, and don't allow that to keep pulling you back into that hurt. And what happens, dioptase allows you to just accept. Then we have chrysocolla, which is really beautiful at helping you to release different pains and hurts on the emotional realm. And finally, we have the smoky quartz that grounds you. So malachite brings the issue to the surface, shadowkite allows you to see it in its wholeness, dioptase allows you to accept it, chrysocolla allows you to release it, and smoky quartz gives you a big hug and goes, well done, tiger. You've allowed that emotional hurt to release. Now, I found I've had this pendant for, probably a couple of decades now, and it was one of the first ones that I had in this kind of string wrap form, which was done by a beautiful friend of mine. And I just find myself holding it. It's quite, although those crystals are quite powerful, wearing it throughout the day, especially when you're dealing with a Chiron issue, can really be quite gentle and nurturing and support you. So I actually like to work with the quantum Quattro during the day and then meditate with the Ibis Jasper at night. It really helps us to come to those realizations, that wisdom, and its nurturing aspect of the Jasper, being a Jasper, helps us to kind of release, feel safe, and if we're doing that kind of work before bed, it's quite calming as well, so we don't kind of go to bed traumatized. But Ibis Jasper for the night, this for the day, really good at helping us to heal through these Chiron issues that we have. In Greek mythology, the plant of Yarrow actually has a connection to Chiron, and its essential oil is also really great when working with Chiron issues. It has both purging and protective energies. So when we work with Yarrow, it actually helps us to purge and to metabolize the poison, the hurt, the pain, and the suffering, and to let that out of our body. It is actually part of the chamomile family, so again, it has a nice soothing and calming effect as we work with this on a deeper level. Now, the other great thing about it is it has a protective quality about it and is used very greatly in helping to protect us from future hurts or going down the same path again. With our Chiron injury or our Chiron aspect, once we understand what that is, there's always going to be that when things go wrong, we kind of go and default that, or that's always going to trip us up. And as we continue to work with Yarrow, we can become stronger, more resilient, metabolize the pain and that reoccurrence a bit quicker, and not allow it to impact us on our daily lives so much or so often. We often find, or I often find, that Yarrow has a really strong connection to Archangel Michael as well. So when you feel you need to conquer your demons, we see pictures of Archangel Michael where he's got his foot on a demon. Now, he may not necessarily, help you conquer little horned things that are under your bed, but we have our fears, we have our inadequacies, and that's often what Chiron injuries will play up on, where we feel inadequate or not good enough in our lives. Call on Archangel Michael when working with Chiron. Bring in Yarrow to allow you to connect with him. The beautiful thing about Yarrow essential oil, it's a rich blue color. Pop it on your third eye, allow that wisdom and that guidance to come through, and allow yourself to transcend beyond your Chiron injury. It was from Chiron's childhood and being abandoned and unwanted that he ended up becoming one of the most sought after teachers in the lands. And so when we come to understand our Chiron injury or our Chiron wound, it often gives us an idea of where we're heading to in our lives. So a crystal that can actually help us to get some more clarity on that is charoite. This is this beautiful violet crystal that's found in the Chara River in Russia. And it's a really great one for working with the crown chakra, for helping you understand, what am I here to do? Now, understand that what has happened to you in your past and who you are now can often help you to serve other people. So for example, another woman can really truly understand the challenges of a woman. Someone who is African American is going to know what it's like more than someone who's not African American to grow up African American. Someone who's gay is going to understand someone else who's gay and the trials and tribulations of being gay compared to someone who's not. Those that have experienced domestic violence, war, all these different things. Yes, they're traumatic. Yes, they're challenging when we have these challenges in our life based on who we are or what has happened around us. But that gives us wisdom, it opens our heart, and it gives us empathy to help lift other people to be better as well. Working with charoite helps you to get that direction, to see who am I impassioned to help? Who do I not want to see suffer like I want to as well? And help to clear away obstacles for you to be allowed to do that, and that to flow really easily in your life. So what I hope that I portrayed to you throughout this video is that we each have a Chiron wound that often happens to us younger in life and kind of trips us up all the time. Now we can allow it to keep tripping us up and it to dominate our lives, or we can understand it. We can see how it actually serves us. And normally what we do is we try to overcome it and overcompensate it, and that can lead to some sort of success. As I said, check out the notes below. What you'll see is a little description of each of the different Chiron injuries of the 12 zodiac signs, and then the little arrow shows you what that can actually bring into your life and the gift that it can offer. Charoite will really help you to understand that gift as well and help you to bring that to the world so that you are contributing as you are destined to do. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about Chiron retrograde, your Chiron wound. And I'd love to know in the comment section, what's your Chiron wound and how does it play up in your life? Have you worked with any of these gifts of nature, these oils or these crystals? And what have you noticed from doing that? That's how we all learn, by sharing experiences and reading the comments as well as watching my videos. Thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with me and watch this video. I'm Barralet. Blessed be.